you check the children. Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
We got Jaime Fuego here.
Here to fulfill another patron request, and this is for a movie that frankly both of us should have seen a long time ago at this point.
We know.
This is one of those where people would be like, you haven't seen this movie? You're not a real horror fan.
Oh my god, some of the best practical ever!
Yeah, except the best horror part of it is like the last 10 minutes of the movie, and the rest is just kind of meh. So here we are to talk about Society. And this was requested by none other than our friend Sam Glass. That was actually our first patron live stream guest. So
Sam the man.
he does have a lot of deep horror knowledge and a lot of good requests. And this is one that I wanted to watch anyway. As you can see, I got the Arrow Special Edition Blu-ray rather, and I think it was on sale at one point, which is why I was like, oh, I'm gonna snap that up because I've always wanted to watch it. I'm definitely glad I have it, and I will go back and watch any behind the scenes about that specific scene. But overall, I'll say that it just didn't impress me like some of the ones from the past that have really gotten to me. Like My Bloody Valentine, the original, was awesome. I finally just watched Motel Hell, and that was awesome. And so this I can't quite say is awesome, but I think if I had seen this when I was younger, before I knew how practical effects work and how I know it's just a lot of Vaseline and stuff like that.
It's a goopy scene.
I think it would have affected me a lot more had I seen it when I was younger. Whereas My Bloody Valentine, I think, holds up because I just really like gory kills. So overall, it's a good watch. It's good to have in the collection, but it's not one that I feel like I'm going to revisit that often, or if I do, I'll just be skipping to the end scene. So, your thoughts, Fuego?
I was entertained. It was much more darkly comedic than I was anticipating. I don't really think it took itself that seriously, even when you got to the grottiness of that infamous scene, which is funny because it doesn't really happen until the very back half of the movie. It's only like 10-12 minutes long, something like that. The rest of it is like this weird what is actually transpiring in the amusingly named Billy Warlock, who is our lead character. That's the name of the actor who played him. But yeah, I was laughing more so than anything else throughout this movie. I am actually a butthead son, so on and so forth.
I guess I am a butthead.
Yeah, but it's some of those scenes that are the major selling point, and it's funny because that's almost like a spoiler to a degree because like the whole movie you're wondering what's really going on, and they keep it a big mystery.
They just keep talking about you're going to be a great addition to society.
Yeah.
It's like okay.
Yeah, so the fact that the producers behind this have gone on to make that their big selling point of it, it kind of kills any sense of mystery in it. But I still liked it. I mean, I didn't love it though because I didn't see it when I was a kid, and I think maybe that would have had something to do with it too.
Agreed.
But it's goopy and gooey.
Do you want to hit the story real quick?
Yeah. So essentially, our lead character Billy, he's kind of on the verge of insanity, or seemingly at least, because he has this whole conspiracy theory that is forming within his head that there is something amiss amongst this high society circle that his parents are in. He thinks he's adopted. He is seeing things like he bites into an apple when he's talking to his therapist at one point, and there's like worms in it. And then this guy who's a suitor, or at least a former one, of his sister, basically brings to his attention this audio recording that he did where it seems like almost like a weird orgy initiation of nastiness that has gone on with his parents and a few other people. And so then he is on a mission, ironically enough, a little bit with the help of this other girl who is part of the high society, who is a little standoffish to it. She assists him to a degree as well. And so it's him trying to unravel the mystery, see what's actually going on. And as I said, the marketing campaign spoils what's really going on because you're waiting for it the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like when you click on it on Shudder or on Prime or wherever else it's streaming, they have that imagery. So
thumbnail,
so it's coming eventually, and it's just kind of the waiting game of when we're going to get that clarification. So I can imagine seeing this in theaters initially and people being like, holy shnikes, man, is this just not what I expected. But
they couldn't have advertised it this way when it came out, though. They couldn't have shown that stuff in the promotional images. No. So that absolutely would have been a complete surprise for people.
Yeah, so I could see, just curiosity and just unsuspectingness having a much more, pivotal impact. But yeah, I mean, there's really not else to spoil or talk about because not really a lot else happens aside from the little side love story with the high society girl and him pissing off his cheerleader girlfriend who can't figure out why she's been excluded, and she wants to go to the party and all this stuff. And I don't know. I mean, like darkly comedic storytelling at times, and it's very goofy. Like even when the kids were on the beach with them and squirting the sunscreen on him and his girlfriend, it's a silly movie a lot of the time. It's very late '80s in that regard. So yeah, this is '89, I think this came out.
Yeah,
So.
it's got that upbeat soundtrack, like having fun in the sun. You know,
And the
like that
attire
kind
of
stuff.
everybody is just too funny too. So,
Yeah.
I
So
don't know.
it's a very off. I think tonally, it's kind of all over the place,
It is.
and you can't get into the mystery thriller of it all because it's so upbeat and fun and funny and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Which makes, to me, the everything land a little bit less impactfully than I think it would have otherwise.
That's why I contend it's more of a dark comedy really than a horror film
True.
at all. You
Yeah.
know?
No, at
So-
this point, having seen it, I agree with you. Yeah. Acting. Unfortunately, there's a lot of cheesy early acting in this one for me.
Yeah, Billy Warlock, right? You know.
He's not the only culprit.
Yeah,
but
yeah. No, most of the peeps are. He's funny though, man. He reminds me of like, I don't know, a younger John Stamos to a degree. You know? And that's kind of the vibe I get from him. And he has the obvious angstiness of sorts, and but the smug smirkiness of all. Like you really hate those high society people and the younger ones, especially some of his classmates that shun him. The smug nerd with the glasses who is debating him early on in the film is a real butthole himself, and so. I mean, I don't know. They definitely sell it very well, and the creepiness of the parents, and you know, just the slightly demeaningness of everybody looking down on. Oh, those are your friends.
The
you're
undercurrent
playing
of incest
basketball
as
with
well.
that kid. Yeah, that's
there's a lot of
weird vibes in this, man.
indeed.
Yeah.
But of course, we have to talk about the effects, and
it's a selling point for this.
once
movie.
we get to them, they're definitely pretty outrageous. They're out there. They're not the most realistic. Obviously, they're not intended to be, but I still enjoyed them. They're the most disturbing thing about the movie, but again, I felt more like it was them just putting hands through Vaseline than, you know, anything else. So I don't know. It just didn't really. The goopiness was gross, but it didn't scare me or anything like that.
I was a little more disturbed when we get the glimpse of it in the opening credits to the strange music as opposed to when we actually see it happen at the end of the movie.
Right. Right. I think having, like, even if they had just added a simple, like, strobe effect, like if it was a party atmosphere and there was a strobe effect and you couldn't quite get all the detail
We
of
had the
every
weird
single
pink
thing.
reddish lighting to it, but
it never cut away, and it was it would linger on stuff long enough where you could start to pick it apart a little bit. But
especially like the face, you know, connections
Sure.
and stuff like that.
Sure.
And, although I must say, when Warlock confronts the guy who's been picking on him the whole time and puts his hand through him and then turns him inside out,
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty badass.
yeah, I was like, okay.
And you can see that they're all rotting inside, which was kind of cool. So,
Yeah, that was fun because, you can't... pulling someone inside out wouldn't work that way with a normal human, so this movie is kind of the only time you can really do that and get away with it.
And also when the mother and the daughter have like melded together and it's like two hands walking.
That
and
was
all
disturbing,
that. That was a
See,
bit that
some
I
of
was
the
impressed
stuff,
by.
again, I think some of the stuff that were more hints at the wrongness is what got to me. Like when the girl at one point was like twisted the wrong way around in the bed.
And in the shower too.
Yeah,
where
more
he
so
sees
in the
his
bed is
sister
what was
early
more
on.
creepy to me. But
After they've just had their
yeah,
lovey man.
yeah, and he's on the ground and just, like she's facing him, but her butt's facing him too.
Twisted. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
and
turned
so it's
sideways.
like I was like, see, that was more disturbing to me than the full-on creepiness or craziness at the end. I should say.
Yeah, it's almost the suggestion of it as opposed to when you actually see it and the lingering. You know,
Right.
like you said, it's almost like takes some of that element of mystery and creepiness about the guessing game.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, and then I think sound design was obviously a big part of this with all the goopy
And ripping and wrenching and
Yep,
stuff, and twisting, contorting
Yeah.
of flesh, and you hear it all very distinctively. And
all the nasty sounds that you don't want to acknowledge are happening during sex are all kind of there.
yeah. And lots of old, scantily clad bodies just like all rubbing on each other.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. The mayor or whoever it was that came out of the thing laughing, and then like just puts his cigar in his mouth. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Like,
bro, where's that been hiding? Like,
But yet, I was even like, with the suggestiveness of it, I was almost more disturbed by the scene where the dad and the daughter and the mother are all sitting in the bedroom, and the dad's like rubbing the sister, and she's like just wearing a bathrobe
the allusion to
that was the stuff that I found way creepier and grosser than actually the scene itself. So
it's unnerving in ways that they didn't focus on that stuff as much as the craziness at the end, and that just wasn't as disturbing for me. But it's not like I wanted a whole movie about incest, though. So.
No, not at all, not at all. And yet, this is the one that Brian Usna, a lot of people, even more so than Bride of Reanimator, and later on the third Return of the Living Dead. You know, people point to this one as maybe his most memorable moment, and I guess it has just such a memorable moment from that scene that maybe it overshadows some of the lesser qualities of the rest of the film.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah.
So I think that's going to pretty much cover it, guys. That's our review of Society. Give it a try if you haven't. Again, it's worth at least one watch through for any horror fan.
Definitely.
So give it a try. If you've seen it, let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. If you haven't seen it, did this review make you want to see it at all? I wouldn't be surprised if not. But nonetheless, I'd be curious to know y'all's opinion. If you enjoyed this review, click the like button and subscribe, and ding that notification bell if you want to make sure you don't miss other reviews going forward. Also, if you want to suggest movies like this for us to review the way Sam Glass did, thank you, Sam.
Love you, Sam.
Then you can do so by clicking the link to our Patreon page down in the description box, and you can join up at the right tier. You can select a movie for us to review, commentary. Other fun options are available there too, so go and check it out. Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird.
And gracias a been Jaime. Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.